Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. Good day. And a lot of this stuff on this UFO, you could say, well, it's just supposed, but it's more than that. There's too many people coming out now with stuff that is just beyond incredible. I want to talk about two or three of the individuals here that she lists.
Beings from other stars in a trance state, and schematics were unveiled of what appeared to be Nazi flying saucers. The world became obsessed with the idea of communication.
Let's go to Bob Lazar. Get to him. He's one of the most important guys of this whole realm because he's come out and some of the things have been proven, but what really makes him official is not only what he says and what's been verified, but that now records have disappeared of his MIT and different education in college and birth and whatnot. So this guy is legit.
The alleged existence of black budget space programs is one secret that these 10 individuals have. Though Bob Lazar never really wanted to be lumped in with the UFO crowd, he remains the man who ignited popular interest in the secretive Nevada military base known as Area 51. In 1993, Lazar became one of the very first purported UFO insiders to break the veil of secrecy.
93, so it's not too far. They've been screwing around with this stuff ever since the Second World War, if not earlier.
Institutions insist that they have no records of his attendance.
There's a flag right there. Look at what Obama's been through.
Lazar reports that he was part of a team of scientists assigned to the top secret base north of Las Vegas known as S4.
You can call it S4 or 51, doesn't matter. The fact is that he comes up with this element 115, anti-gravity material, and some other stuff. They figured out they back engineered some of this stuff. They got serious into this in the 40s and 50s. Went on with what happened with Admiral Beard in Antarctica is another one.
More focused on his scientific supply company and consulting work than he is on spreading the word about extraterrestrials.
He's gotten out of it, but he had threats and other things. And if they were doing this stuff in the 50s, what are they doing now, 60, 70 years later? Let's go to someone who I really want to mention this guy briefly here. I think that he's he could go either way.
Information and wanted to use DeLonge as the face of their disclosure. Suffice to say, public reception of DeLonge's change in career has been mixed.
Government was going to leak some of this out through him, they thought, some of these insiders. It has not yet happened. And you get people that are like this guy, going spreading disinformation, government con job. People that have seen things like this guy here. But one of the persons I really wanted to talk about was this guy here. Not him, but the astronaut after him.
Very existence of such a photograph endangered the life of anyone who witnessed it.
A lot of these people, their families were threatened, they were threatened. The government does not want this out, and the major reason they don't want this out is because of the technology that would change the world. Can you imagine what anti-gravity would do to change the world?
2. Edgar Mitchell. Edgar Mitchell of Apollo 14 fame was the sixth man to walk on the moon and always signed his correspondences accordingly. But Mitchell became somewhat of an embarrassment to NASA later in life when his passions for meditation, spirituality, and alternative healing led him into the arms of the ufology community, and the classified information with which he had supposedly been entrusted started spilling out. Before his death in 2016, Mitchell stated that not.
So he started spilling this stuff out before 2016. But listen what he spilled out, a little bit of it.
Only was the Roswell incident a real instance of a downed alien spacecraft, but the extraterrestrial entities that crashed there had been observing military tests of nuclear weapons.
Now that's important, and a lot of these people have confirmed that these UFOs were And there are many, many records of UFOs messing with the nuclear bases to let us know that they could stop launches, they could mess with our equipment. They didn't want us using these nuclear weapons. That is clear.
Mitchell revealed to the world in an interview with Kerrang in 2008 that the government cover-up of extraterrestrial visitation and the space exploration technologies derived from recovered UFOs had begun with the Roswell crash and continues on to the present day. He claimed to have been let in on this information due to his ranking position as an Apollo astronaut. NASA was quick to debunk his assertions, but in doing so, the space agency appears to have gotten a bit ahead of their skis. Mitchell never stated that NASA was involved in the UFO cover-up.
Now I find that interesting. And Mitchell never said that they were covering it up, but the military-industrial complexes, both in the Air Force and Navy, are.
But NASA still went out of their way to state that they were involved in no such activity. Mitchell also never claimed that NASA tracked UFOs, yet the space agency still felt the need to clarify that this wasn't one of their functions, either. Mitchell agreed with claims made by other supposed insiders that the main reason UFOs are being covered up isn't to avoid a panic but to suppress the technologies that power these craft.
And that's one of the most key statements made by anybody. Absolutely essential. This guy after him, Corey Goode, is what we're going to talk about. Corey Goode, even if a tenth of what he says is true, is mind-blowing. And it means that they've been screwing around with this stuff for over 60, 70 years, and they can do incredible stuff in that time period. From time travel to slaves to weaponry to going outside the solar system to going to different planets and different moons to stuff covered up in Antarctica to different races that they've been working with, different aliens they've been working with for decades. For the rivalry that's going on between the Air Force and the Navy is far ahead of the Air Force. Very interesting. That's why I like Corey Goode as the #1 insider.
When confronted with the majesty of outer space during his Apollo mission, Mitchell experienced a profound spiritual awakening that no doubt contributed to his urge to share what he knew with the public. 1. Corey Goode. If even 10% of what Corey Goode claims ever ends up being proven true, humanity is due for a brutal wake-up call.
That's an understatement, and I've looked at his stuff, and if it's true, we've been playing games with psychics, we've been enslaving people, and we're having wars for decades on Mars and other places. There are bases in the moon. There are at least 10 or 12 major groups of aliens that we're working with or aware of, if not more. Our aircraft, both in the military and Air Force, can go far out of the solar system and back. We can travel to the moon very quickly, very effectively in little shuttles, and much, much more. This man has a gigantic story to get out and is the best and most important UFO insider that we know of.
Has been making the ufology convention circuit since 2015 to share his unique message. Considered life-changing to those who believe and infinitely entertaining to those who don't, Goode's testimony includes assertions that he was recruited into a secret space program as a teenager and served for 20 years in a spacefaring branch of the U.S. Navy. During his tour of duty, he supposedly had access to sources of information that paint a picture of human history very different from the one with which we're familiar.
That's an understatement. We're talking about UFOs or extraterrestrials not only messing with genetics of mankind, but creating civilizations, those civilizations being destroyed, creating more civilizations, those civilizations being destroyed, and finally our civilization being here and on the verge of being destroyed too nuclear. So this cycle of repeating destruction and repeating war and repeating involvement with ETs or extraterrestrials or aliens, and them using us and manipulating our genetic pool and being involved in our history is profoundly amazing if it is true.
He alleges that Antarctica is absolutely filled with ancient ruins and that alien technology is buried just below the ice. He goes on to claim that this icy continent used to house extraterrestrial refugees that bred with humans to create a master race which once ruled the planet. Those wondering if any of these fanciful claims could possibly bear a grain of truth won't have to wait long for confirmation. Goode and esoteric researcher David Wilcock both assert that a full disclosure event is coming soon that will utterly reframe our understanding of history and the role that planet Earth plays in the wider universe.
I don't know if it's going to come out. The powers that be have been fighting this for 70 years. I don't think it's going to come out that easily. It may come out at the second coming of Jesus Christ or later, but I don't think it's going to come out any sooner. These powers that be do not want this technology out, do not want this information known. It will rechange education, political, philosophical, religious, historical, archaeological, scientific, technological advancements, and other areas of our education and understanding. It'll change all of that if it is true. Again, it's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Keep a track on Corey Goode and David Wilcock. Very interesting stuff. If even a tenth of it is true, it is going to be world-changing. Good day. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Bye.